Good afternoon. This is July 19th, 2023. The time is now 2:39 p.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners. And I will call to order this special meeting of the Board of Commissioners. If you do have cell phones, please silence them at this time. And if you would, join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. Would you lead us this time?
I would, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not blowing as cold as it was. Seems like it's warming up a little.
It's raining.
Think that every day. Kelly, could we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Day,
Here.
Commissioner Cantor,
There.
Commissioner Flower,
Present.
Attorney Dan Slater,
Here.
and clerk to the board.
Okay, an audience introduction. We'll start with you, sir.
Braden Wilson, Director of Finance Nature.
David Day, Wetmore,
James Gilbert, Custer County.
Jordan Wilcox, citizen,
Stephen Wilcox. Jim Chapman.
Okay, thank you. And we may have some online. Actually not at this point. If anyone goes to speak later, if you could identify yourself for the record, I'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you. Any amendments to the agenda?
None from me.
None here.
No, sir.
We have an opportunity for public comment. If you have public comment for anything that's not on the agenda. James.
Yeah, James Gilbert, rural Custer County. I have actually two comments. The first one, I understand because I brought up the Zoom that you did approve the county manager position. And I was just going to ask if my perception of what this position is true, because I've been following this development probably since it started. It's my understanding that the county commissioner has absolutely no governmental role. It's all administrative, operational. And it, in my mind, sounds like a general manager. And in my mind, the need for it has seemed to arise because the commissioners have a primary responsibility to govern the county and provide for the county and its residents an overall strategy, policies, goals, objectives, and means to get to there, but found themselves in overly involved with the day-to-day running of the various what do you call it, silos, I guess, of the administration of the county. And to that end, you would hope to find a positional solution to that in something like a county manager, do those types of things for you. I'll answer your question. Is that kind of close?
It hits the point of it.
8.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Just as you've already approved the position, so the last comment about this I was going to make doesn't really count. It had to do with you have directors of departments, and that's their role. But anyway, the second comment I wanted to make has to do with the comments I've heard in these meetings regarding recall. And the primary comments that I have heard have been challenging the ability of a commissioner to do his job based upon what was believed to be a lack of integrity. In my opinion, and I assume everybody else, that was their opinion. In my opinion, the biggest demonstration of a lack of integrity is a violation of the oath of office. So I find it entirely hypocritical for the recall to exist in the context of the majority of this board violating their oath of office, in that they punitively punished a newspaper for what it published, violating the First Amendment to the Constitution. That was taken up in a lawsuit, which was settled, et cetera, but fundamentally, that was a violation of the oath of office, and nothing absolutely came of it. So in my mind, that totally puts a spotlight on the hypocrisy of this recall. And I hope that people who are online listening or in the room think about that and recognize that at the very least, folks in this county ought to deal with integrity consistently. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Check online. Not seeing anything online. Okay. We have no unfinished business. We have new business. We have two items. First item would be the consideration of the Forest Service FED fiscal year 2023 payments to the state's election form. That will be for the PILT funds.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, and I hate to interrupt.
Go ahead.
IT asked if we could close the blinds because it's totally washing out the video. It's a push, I think, that round, and then turn it. We should go. Oh, we got one burned out.
Yeah, it was burned out the other
Oh,
day.
wait. So that's why I closed blinds. He said
Okay.
it's totally washing out the video.
Well, I'm glad you closed them because it's hard to.
Jordan, can you mute that, please? Thank you.
Sounded stressful to me.
Yeah.
Like somebody's getting pummeled somewhere.
I've heard that's not uncommon in some.
Is that an interference coming in?
We
Something?
don't have any outside.
Nobody's online.
Oh,
Can we call
oh,
it?
it was inappropriate video that was being played.
Oh, it was.
Somebody got it.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, he removed the person from.
I can't
Okay.
imagine what it was.
All right,
I can only
Uh,
imagine.
so I believe you guys have received the same document that I had in regards to that. There were three options, I believe. And I'm trying to pull that up now. That was a document we had on July 17th.
Right.
And we need to decide how we would like to receive these funds, and this decision is due by the 21st. I believe Braden has it ready to submit as soon as we make a decision on that. So, you guys need to go through that at all to look and see. I'm looking to find the funds that we're slated, estimate that we're slated to receive would be 126,300. I believe it's in that first letter
Yeah.
that where it tells us.
On the wall.
We must select the payment under the 1908 amended act, which is either that, which is 25% for a 7-year rolling average, or the Secure Rural Schools Act, or the Community Self-Determination Act, SRS, which would be a full payment methodology. I'm not sure what we have done in the past. The SRS,
Mhm.
we have done that in the past, so I believe if you go with the 25% rolling, you at the back end, you receive a little more dollars, but I would like to find out what your pleasure is.
I don't know, I'll move we, yeah. What are we doing? Adopting that, or are we considering it? Adopt the SRS payment method.
So your motion is to receive our funding through the SRS full payment
Right.
methodology. I would second that. Any discussion here?
I don't know how to do this, but I do know if we go the SRS route, we have to determine which of those titles, and I'm assuming how much. I haven't looked at that form yet, but Title
Okay.
1, Title 2, and Title 3.
County selecting the SRS payment will need to complete a second election to allocate the distribution amount between titles 1, 2, and 3.
Right, and I think we probably need to visit with Virginia about that as well. You know, she certainly is the keeper of those.
And she's been doing
And
that title.
that particular form is not due until September 15th.
But the first one is,
The first one is due by the 20th
So we got
First.
time to,
of this month.
and the motion is just to select the SRS.
right, and then we can go adopt it once we know what it is.
And who's going to do this? Who's gonna follow up on this?
It will be sent, this
So
decision
he can
today
do
will
it
be
with
sent by Braden, and then I can get with Virginia and see how we have done that in the past to see, and then I can bring that to you gentlemen, if, to see if that would be adequate for this
If we can do it
go around as
down the
well,
road, whenever it's ready.
between now and,
So Braden's gonna make sure we hit the first deadline. So,
that is correct. He has that form ready for submittal. Anything else, sir? Anything from the room? Oh,
A couple of things real quick. You said that there is a difference between, if there is a monetary difference, it would be $55,000 more if we did the 7-year-old, just so that number's out there.
At the end, it all adds up.
wow.
Yeah,
But inflation gonna kill us anyway.
yeah, good. We play the game, run the risk anyway. And so the second question, which I did not see on this form, is that if we were to go the SRS full payment method, it does give us a chance. It says, please indicate if you'd like to make title allocation election at this time. So we can either say continue or do not continue. Please send me a separate form for title allocations. This is what you speak information on moving forward with this, and which direction we would go with it.
Well, that's a big chunk of money. I didn't realize it was that much.
my apology. I should have let him speak before we put a motion on the floor then.
Well, we can start.
Does that change your opinion any?
It says that currently there are roughly 73 counties that are receiving payments under the rolling average. If I read this correct. And I clicked on that, SRS.
How many counties?
History, like 73%.
Oh, 73. I'm sorry, 73 counties.
I heard 73
I did
counties.
too.
I did-
We're adding two states in New Mexico.
Where'd those other counties come from?
I may have, if I said that, I'm sure I did, that was not my intent, I was just,
I still think it's better.
no, it says roughly 73 counties, so I don't know,
Maybe they're taking it across the nation.
yeah, it must be. I thought this was Colorado, but it's USDA, so.
3,000, yeah, some odd counties, that's, yeah, not nearly this.
And it depends on the size.
Which, how does that affect your future allocations if you're on that as well?
I'm good with this thing.
You think I would be- Anything from the room?
So
Mr. Gilbert?
7-year rolling average would be how much per year?
20. Was that 25%?
It would be 25,900 a year.
A year, which ends up being 55,000 over 125.
And it ends up being 55,000 over the full amount, which would be 126.
Okay, so basically we're getting paid interest. We're not taking it.
It's like Medicare, just like Medicare, yeah. Yeah,
If you take the full payout on the lottery, you get half of the money. If you take it over to time, then you get more money.
but you don't get to spend it.
Is what his reference was.
Oh. So if one took it over the 7 years, it would be ultimately more than
Like $50,000 or whatever.
55,000, which is way more. Like, but if you
Can't
had
use it.
the interest in spending money and going on early, you know, within say 3 years or something, then that's no brainer.
And to the point, these are all estimated numbers. These, we're not guaranteed that dollar. That's an estimate. We won't know that until they actually make those disposals.
Bird in hands were 2 in the bush.
Anything else? Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor to accept the Forest Service FED fiscal year 2023 payments by the SRS payment method. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That motion carries. And I will get with Virginia. See how we had allocated those in the past. Okay,
So I just real quick, I'm going ahead and saying to send a separate form for applications that way we can, even if it becomes the same, we at least have the opportunity to do that.
thank you. And if you would go, yes, go ahead and get that sent. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of adopting the Custer County BOCC and County Manager Policy Manual. We went through that a little earlier, just before this meeting here. And made some changes to that document that we had. And we now have the finished document to look at here. And I would to get the ball started on that, I would move that we adopt the Custer County BOCC and County Manager Policy Manual as is now before us.
Second.
A motion on the floor to adopt the Custer County BOCC and County Manager Policy that we have before us now. Discussion here at the table.
You just provided us with the most recent one, correct? Was that the last email we got?
Did you email it, Brady?
Sort of asking if you did. Okay.
It would still be the same link as.
The one we still had pulled up on our.
Yeah.
I want to email.
Yeah, I closed that one.
Because you were working on a paper document.
Yeah, I had it. I could get-
And if adopted, then obviously the highlighted date on the title page changes, correct?
Yes, that would be the date that it is approved, which would be today if that passes. Anything else, sir?
No.
Anything from you, sir?
Well. Yeah, I need I'll,
Are you still waiting on your copy?
yeah, but let me have that, but let me make a quick observation so that the public here understands what's going on. We had a workshop. And it was limited to public could come and it was broadcast. Also, it was limited that nobody could speak. It was going to be a discussion. And it's because we still are grasping with how to handle workshops. In this case, we had an expert come, Carol Bahinger, and she wanted to have some input on it because she's operated with a county manager, and I happen to agree. That's one of the reasons a workshop, the way I view it, and the way I think we need to consider it in the future. We need to, if we're asked, the workshops are there for commissioners to get information and make decisions in public with that information. We're not, that workshop's not a place where we debate and then make changes. We got to understand where their issues are. And then have whoever's presenting that to us, whether it's a citizen with something or a resolution for something. Fix it based on comments or understandings, and then prepare the document for a discussion like we did. And discuss it so that the public's well aware of what we're doing, with what the document really is and what it says. So I would, I think we did a good job discussing it. I think with the information we have with just the four of us, which are not experts in county managing the documents we had presented to us by Braden. He did a good job of polling places, got consolidated county managers and BOCC policy manuals. But maybe there was more to it if we'd had those people there to talk to, or to when we had questions about why did it say the commissioners monitor airport board, whatever. So I would like to have had that for a little additional, making it a better document. And also in this discussion with the citizens, it's hard for them to understand what we're adopting because they have no clue what it said. So I think we need to look hard at the future on how we do workshops, because and I did make the effort, and I did call CTSI to get some information to understand from other people. And in this case, I talked to Dennis Hunt today about it to find out, make sure that it's what, and he was a county manager and is the expert. So he said, basically cover ourselves to make sure we're getting the best input we can. And then having the public have full visibility on what we're just doing with it in our discussion. So, I don't think it would be fair right now to, and I'm happy if we're going to vote on it, we can sure vote, but I'm not happy to, I'm happy to participate and happy to do it, but it's hard for me to support it entirely because I don't have enough. Maybe there's something we should have added or not, but I believe we can do that in the future if this is adopted to modify it. So that's some comments.
If I may,
Yes.
I agree with a lot of what you said, Commissioner Canada. To be clear, I think we did operate clearly in an open.
Oh, we sure
forum
did.
Today,
We sure did,
nobody chose to participate other than the one person. who
but we didn't
realize-
allow any comments.
Right, we didn't
That
realize
was where
that.
we screwed
We're
up.
not going to get into public comments. From my perspective, the issue with allowing public comment during a workshop, to me, the two really don't marry up. Now, if we invite somebody that we recognize
And
as an expert,
That is 100%.
And
I left that part out, Tom. Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because that's exactly what you should do. We need to invite the people that we want to hear and get information from.
And
Carol would
our,
have been one of them.
and our agenda for the workshop stated that very clearly, that we may reserve the right to allow somebody to have public comment if they are an invited
That's right.
guest. That's where we should take advantage of if there are any so-called experts on whatever topic it is we're talking about, right? And we don't know who all those experts are. Somebody may consider themselves an expert, and we may not,
Right.
but nonetheless, it's up to us if we want additional information in a workshop.
Yeah, that
Like
is 100%. You're right on the money and we should cover that. But like in our discussions on it before and ask whoever the person is presenting it to us to make sure the experts are there, but or the references for us to consider.
Right,
And we invite those people and the public was invited to listen. They could have listened to it.
Right.
If they're not,
Sure.
and then the next meeting we're approving it, that's just not too bad if they missed out.
Unfortunately, people may think they're an expert, and they may tell us they're an expert.
But we're not allowing them to talk unless they're invited.
That's right. We have to invite them as an expert. We have to recognize that. To me, that means we need to initiate
Right.
that invitation. Or if somebody said, hey, I've done this and this and this. Could I be invited
Yeah.
to speak? That's different. But to open it up to public comment during a workshop, to me, is unproductive. Outside of the realm of what we just talked
Yeah,
about.
I agree.
And I
Wasn't suggesting.
Possibly I could have asked today if we were all in agreement to let her speak. Did
Yeah,
not really take that opportunity, so, but
but Mr. Chair, if I may, not a great way to conduct business, right? If there was 30 people in here and we recognize one of those 30 people without specifically inviting her, that's not gonna go over well.
No, it needed to be done right. Today we only had one, so it wouldn't matter.
Right, but
You're right. We don't want to set the precedent that we'll let it happen in any meeting. It would have been, we could have defended what happened.
yeah, the onus is on us to invite people in if we want.
That's right.
did you get your copy, sir? That you were
Yeah, I
waiting
did.
for? Okay. Sorry.
Okay,
Anything else then? Right now?
that's my.
Okay. Anything else from you?
No, I think there's some great points in here. I was concerned about some things and had my opportunity to bring up those concerns, so good.
Anything from the room? Mr. Gilbert?
Just, James Gilbert, just, a comment on the discussion we just had. If no one else is at a workshop discussing stuff, agree with you, that's a fucking meeting. So I totally agree with Bill and Tom that a great way to have workshops is for you guys to have an issue, identify who it is locally, regionally, nationally, whatever, that you want to get information from and invite them on down and list it as an, as a
Exactly.
workshop.
Exactly right.
I think you're getting a lot more participation too, because people are gonna get a lot of information
That's right.
that they don't need to debate.
We're not drinking our own bathwater. I mean, we're just discussing it with people that have never done it before.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, we tried it both ways, right? We did workshop work in a meeting and got chastised.
Yeah,
for
but
doing
we
it.
didn't see, we let everybody speak. We could, but we didn't invite the expert. And there was an expert in the room at that time, a couple experts actually. And we should have met, and we did handle that wrong, but you're right.
Yeah, I'm talking about historically.
That's true.
For transparency, we tried to do a lot of what we did in this workshop today, a year or so ago. We tried that in a meeting and were criticized severely for worrying about grammatical stuff. That's the kind of stuff we did in this workshop and not take that time up in a meeting. I think the term has been used, and I think it's fairly applicable. All we did was make sausage today. We just ground out the little grammatical details and some philosophical points and that kind of thing. To me, that's what a workshop is for. I wouldn't have wanted to do this in a regular meeting.
You're right, and but there were some substantive things that we had a question about. What's this in here for? Well, that applied to Douglas County. Well, it's not applicable to us. And so that's why it's still a workshop. And we've just got to make sure that we invite the right people, like Jim pointed out. To
Well, yeah,
participate.
and we may not know.
And the workshop is exactly that. Let's put the dots on it and that kind of thing. But we can't have a meeting and agree and make a vote in a workshop. Unless, what we're doing is getting information so that when we open it up, then we can say, let's move that Douglas County thing out of here.
Right.
Or add something that we should have added that maybe Carol would have brought to the table. Okay, it's good. Look, it's like the same one.
Anything else from the room? Not seeing anything online. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to adopt the Custer County BOCC and County Manager Policy Manual. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right,
Aye. Those opposed?
And I'm gonna oppose it only because of the fact that I would like to have had the benefit of having more meat to it. But I'll say I'm happy to follow it.
And I think it will be a living document that will need to be worked on in the future as well, so. And I will try. We can extend those invitations.
Okay.
That motion carried by a 2-1 vote. Any additional items of business today?
I do have, sir. Let me close out this document. quick, if I may. We received an email from one Justin Kurth, who you gentlemen know. On date here.
Most recent one today at 10:30.
Yeah, 10:13, I think. it was.
10:31.
I wrote the time down.
10:31. At least
Was it 10:31?
what it said.
Okay. Yes, sorry. So my question would be, did either one of you, I did not respond to this survey. It's the second or third time they've reached out to this Representative Pedersen's community outreach questionnaire. Did either one of you fill it out?
Nope.
And I'm assuming if we did, we probably would have been taken off of this list. And does either one of you or myself want or need to do this? I haven't looked at it. So I don't know what it's all about.
I believe due to an earlier email, they're wanting to see if we had anything to highlight for them to come to or something like that,
That was
such as in Silver Cliff when they did the grand opening.
the 14th was the original email that I received.
I don't know why we need to fill it out. I mean, we can invite them and they'll come.
Yeah, they're wanting to, as their email says, to help them identify
Right.
organizations, business, community leaders in our region. To me, they're trying to build a mailing list, basically.
I know Buck Wins is working hard, so I'm gonna stay in touch with them. They understand the immediate stuff that we do.
So I kind of agree with you. I don't have a burning desire to fill it out, but it's
Just in case you didn't hear it, it's for Brittany, what's her name? Pedersen, congressional, this the new congressional district, and she came, she's energetic, she wants to help, get involved, with all the communities, because she's new. She may wear out, but she's got a, she wants to try to help us, but
But
proof's in the pudding.
this is from her rep.
This is her field, her staff are sending it to us so that she can decide how to divvy her time up with other counties.
So. Just wanted to bring it up.
Jim's got a question.
Was this sent to you as the county commissioners or you individually?
Yeah. Commissioners, we were
All three at the same time.
Okay, so based upon the good of the citizens of the county, why the reticence to respond?
well, for me, I guess I'm not necessarily reticent. I think Buck Winsel's been on point with this whole thing with Pedersen, certainly more than I have. But
Well,
yeah, really, it's not a big issue with me one way or the other.
Yeah,
Again, I think they're trying to
Yeah.
develop a mailing list to reach out to people.
Here, let me read you what the questions are, because
Sure.
it's short and sweet. They're just asking if there's any businesses primarily. They're looking at the detail. 3 to 5 businesses, they're critical, and she knows those. Because we had a good meeting with her, all of us there the other day. I don't remember what day it was, a month or two ago. What community leaders do you recommend we reach out to? Well, they're, all the mayors were there and the commissioners and so she got it. I think this is really aimed more, Jim, at the bigger counties where there's many more diverse things than what we've got here. And this particular rep's a good rep. He's on top of this district.
yeah, but my point being is that if we don't vote something like this out, then anything we want to have in her least consciousness will not be.
Yeah.
And, you know, you listed the community leaders almost defining the political people as.
No,
community
yeah,
leaders.
we didn't limit that either, by the way, initially when she was here. We had,
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to argue. with you.
Okay,
Just sounded
but you're
like
right.
you're Thinking the only ones
Oh,
that are community leaders are
No.
the two mayors and you guys,
no,
which is.
I didn't mean to imply that.
And I'll
But
respond.
I see absolutely no reason why. we
See,
shouldn't.
they're asking, are there annual events? Well, Colorado Strong or Custer County Strong, and there's a lot of things that we invite them to already. So,
And to that point, a lot of this information was already given to them when we met them at the grand opening of the Silvercliff Museum. So a lot of this information they already have received from us. It just has not been in a survey form here. We physically talked to them face to face.
So I guarantee that they put it in their database.
yeah.
With
I'll
the-
Yeah. I can guarantee you they did only because we know this rep. This is one of those generic mass mailing kind of things, you know, it went to all of the towns and counties in her district.
Yeah.
And they need to figure out how to win them with that.
Well, I can certainly fill it out and give them my opinion of who I think organizations they should contact or. Not a big deal. I just,
I
and
don't care.
maybe repetition wasn't the issue here. I thought, well, there's no reason for all three of us to fill this out if one of us is going to, but. It doesn't matter. I'll do it.
Anything else?
No. No, sir, not for me.
Kelly?
Kelly's been.
I have a question for the three of you. So, so far I've received 5 applications. There's kind of a short time frame in there for the deadline. And when you are going to
Interview them or not?
have this, yes. I guess I need some direction as to. I don't know that you want them all in a big lump. After the deadline, because I don't know that that's gonna give you enough time.
Was
to
there 2 days between?
review, and so I just need a little direction as to what. you want.
The date we selected the interview was
27th, even.
the 26th.
Closes the 25th.
Yeah.
End of business.
Yeah.
That gives us the 26th and 27th. I believe if we wanted to vet those to see.
I don't mind looking at
If we had them. Went ahead and received those from you so that we could determine. How many of those we would like to interview. I'm kind of looking at you too to make sure I don't.
This isn't a bid process where everything has to be opened up. It's fine, but
I think it is.
providing this, they come in.
And then what we've done in the past, just so you know. We have looked at them and we looked at the top 2 or 3, and then we looked at each one combined. Brady could do that and say, here's a recommended group based on them.
The grades can-
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's applying. I'm looking at it as,
Assuming that.
Brayden would not be a good person.
so it'd be you. But
So
anyway,
I think that would probably fall to us.
Yes,
oh,
I do
now
not
because
have
of,
time to vet all.
okay, I don't mean better. I'm looking at our.
I think-
comments, and here's
the,
yeah.
yeah,
not that,
under normal circumstances, it would fall to him, but this is not that case, so I think that would fall to us to determine those that we would like to
I
move
agree.
forward. So I
That's
would
what I was trying to
say, if you could go ahead and forward those to us. And I would say the 3 of us, and do you have a need for those, sir? Or not? You're not
when I
making
walk
any
out of this
decisions.
room,
Yeah,
I'm gone until the 31st.
all right, you are, so, so yeah, if you could
we don't
get
have to
those
be.
forwarded to the 3 of us,
I would do that.
and then we
If I
can,
get it tomorrow,
okay,
Got
and
5.
then, so then I would say, then on the, would we need a meeting of some sort, say, do we want to schedule interviews now? Well, we can't really schedule them unless till we've got them, and to vet them, then I would say we need to vet them on the morning of the 26th. So we would need a special meeting to do that,
Well, we can do it.
or,
We can just give us our top 3. Something we can see how they fought good between us and the need.
yeah, we've never done that in a.
Never done it.
okay, I just want to make sure, so we can actually present through email our top 3 choices
And,
each.
and it might, well, I've seen it happen where you'll end up with an extra one because two lower ones.
Yeah.
In just a email exchange with us.
I want to make sure that I don't overstep on that and not have that done in a meeting if it needs to be done in a meeting.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking for a legal opinion, yes, sir.
She wouldn't.
Done in a meeting, at the open meeting.
I know that it sounds like you've done it that way in the past. But the reality is that 3 of you are each providing your own thoughts to each other. Even though it's just by email. It's fairly safe to say that if Colorado Supreme Court were to look at that, they would conclude that that would be a meeting.
I would agree.
Okay,
Yeah, therefore subject to.
We have not set a time to interview, correct?
we have not.
We just picked the date. Correct?
I
Not
don't,
really think the
I
date.
don't think we have picked a
didn't
date.
pick a date.
The
We picked a
job
date.
closes on the end of business on the 25th.
Right, now I've got county manager interviews on the 26th. Did I green that up? Wow,
I believe so.
okay.
So I will call a special meeting to put together an interview list on the 26th at 9 a.m. So that we can,
Let's make sure we can make it.
Comment, sir.
yes,
We're already having a workshop on the 27th.
okay,
We're all gonna be here. At least according to my calendar, we're having a finance workshop. On
I'm
27th.
not here.
At 9 is, we put this on the calendar some time ago, so
I don't have,
if
Yes.
something's changed, I'm fine with that, but
I don't
that's what
have-
I've got on my calendar. If my point was, if that is on fact on the calendar and we're meeting at 9, maybe we could do
is that on
we need to-
after that.
I missed that.
so. My thoughts were if we could do the 26th to set up who we're going to interview, then we can set interviews. Possibly for the 27th. We have the 27th and the 31st as work days to do those interviews.
Okay.
Send me the meeting announcement, will you?
And we're meeting, well, that's a workshop on the 27th, then meetings on the 31st, 1st, and 2nd.
Yes,
With the Board of Health on the 1st.
I believe so, yes.
That's correct.
And Dominic starts on the 1st. Hopefully we'll have an office going by then.
Okay. So if we could put in get an agenda posted for that. On the morning of the 26th. And then at that time. We can. Set up the interviews for. The 27th. And if we need to on the 31st, we could get those interviews set up. That will be a closed. Workshop. Do we need to have those posted now? Yes,
Yeah, most of it.
okay.
On the 20,
So if that's the case, they will need to take place probably. In the afternoon of the 27th. Or later to make sure we meet our posting time. So many things.
we're gonna have a closed workshop in the afternoon, 27th.
I think you can, because, for the names on the workshop on the agenda, so I think I should do an
Number.
agenda and just say that it's a workshop to interview.
Okay,
Can't,
Right.
so. So we could start that at 9 o'clock if can we schedule an all-day workshop and then whenever, however the availability of the interviewees. Is we can schedule them throughout that day. Why don't we do that? That would work good.
on the 27th.
So I think there's a couple of issues with that.
Okay,
In my opinion, the interviews, I'm good with that in the afternoon, but that should be a closed workshop. The finance workshop should not be closed. So I don't think we can do it all under one agenda. I think we need 2 separate workshops.
Oh, and we already have the.
Yeah.
Finance.
Finance one's at 9. I would recommend we set up an interview closed workshop starting at. We can take that finance workshop an hour and a half, 2.
Hour and a half.
Maybe 11,
okay.
meet at 11.
Make it deadline.
Okay, that sounds good. So we'll start the closed workshop starting at 11.
Interview. Interview workshop at 11.
And then if for some reason somebody can't make it on the 27th, then you can schedule the 31st.
Yes.
The 20.
Well, technically not. I'm fishing. Oh, no, I don't. So if we do that, then Kevin, you're wanting us to have in our possession the applications for us to review individually on the 26th. Is that correct?
I'm gonna send those to you.
Yes, we will get. She will send us the existing ones and send them forward them to us as they come in, so that we can. We don't have to look at them all and then they'll swoop there.
Well, I have a legal question, if you're not going on vacation just yet.
Maybe not outwardly.
Yeah. So these documents that we'll receive. They're not. That's privileged information,
At
correct?
this point, it is. It's
Because that's quote unquote personnel.
not only that, they are candidates, they're not finalists for any position. At the point you receive them, they are not finalists for.
So there's only 4 people should know about that. It's Kelly and the 3 of us.
Correct.
Then on the 26th, we're gonna have a conversation in a meeting or a workshop about how many candidates we
We're gonna
want
make a
to
decision. It's
interview
gonna.
and who they are, right? That's gonna happen on the 26th.
Yes, and those will be, I think if you would give us those in either numerical order or alphabetical order, A, B, C, and D, or 1, 2, 3, and 4.
That way we can reference it.
Right.
So- So
In an
that,
open meeting.
so that in the open meeting, we can refer to them
Right.
as
As ABC.
A, B, C, or D.
26th, we're gonna schedule a special meeting.
Yes, at 9 AM. To select those that we wish to move forward with on interviews. And then we will contact them. And
Who will
see,
contact them again? Could you clarify that, sir, as Mr. Chairman?
I will contact them.
Great idea. Oh, my God.
I did
Thank
not
you.
point to you.
Thank you.
What time are we doing it?
9.
So I will contact them after our meeting on at 9 o'clock. And set up interviews for the 27th. We'll try to get them all on the 27th. If not, I will schedule some for Monday, the 31st. And that will need to take place after our regular meeting. So that will take place in the afternoon of the 31st.
And so I'm assuming our agenda will be a special BOCC meeting starting at 9. The agenda item will be selecting
Interview
candidates to interview for the position of county
county
manager.
manager.
26 or 27?
26, and then 20
At 9.
at 9.
That's what I got.
And then 27th is a closed workshop to interview candidates.
Correct.
What time starting?
11. That's what I got out of all that. Is that right, Mr. Chair?
Yes,
11 o'clock.
And just so we're clear, the closed workshop. At the closed workshop where you're interviewing candidates. The purpose is to end up with one or more finalists to consider at the I guess,
Next.
August 1st.
Meeting when we would actually vote.
And I want to, and it's important to use that language.
That's right.
because I don't want necessarily. We only have to disclose certain information requested by the finalists. So just because individuals are selected to interview doesn't mean they're.
That's correct.
And so on the 27th, we are interviewing candidates.
Or it could just be.
So they're semi.
So in the past, when they make their selection. They still don't come out, then that's when they've done it, is that?
Until they
correct?
accept it.
Things
Well, so
out to them.
one off of a fairly recent. Colorado court decision involving the selection of the senior president. In which case the board of regents selected one finalist to be senior president after going through a number of interviews. There were some news publications that requested information on the other people interviewed and who they were. And what the term.
Can't
The
do.
Board of Regents don't have to release that information because there was only one. So, I mean, we can have more than one finalist. My point is that the people we interview are going to be finalists.
So historically, what we've done is this administration is determine which candidates we want to interview. We go through that interview process. Then in an open meeting, a commissioner makes a motion of who they believe we should hire. If it gets seconded, we move on. If it doesn't, somebody else makes a different motion. Only by name or letter or number. We don't identify that person until after the decision's been made. And until we get acknowledgement from that person that they will accept the position.
First of all, I want to emphasize that this only applies to high level employment positions, not every position. And obviously the county manager is about the highest level employment position you have, the highest. So I think if there's a motion made by someone to hire someone, that person is apparently finalist, and that name, even if the board eventually doesn't choose that person, that the final meeting is true. And if that name is got, that name is technically potentially public. And again, what I saw how this process worked in terms of the BS
Right.
veterans officer that you selected last week. And that was fine for that, because again, that's not the high level managerial position that we have here. But I think for this particular position, the board needs to determine whether there will be one or two finalists with your reading. And then who, if there's one or two, would say, I would suggest you only have one or two finalists for consideration at the August first meeting. But those names would probably be public.
Yeah, that would make sense. It does.
Certainly not how we have operated
And
in the
again,
last 5 years.
how
but
you've
I'm not-
operated hasn't usually probably been hiring a county manager. So that's why this is a little bit of a different process.
So- At the conclusion, what I'm hearing here then is at the conclusion of our interviews, we need to have a meeting to where we would decide who would be one or two or three finalists
Correct.
to
Debate.
vote on at the meeting on the first. So that decision there would need to be, so at the conclusion of our interviews, we need to have a meeting scheduled to pick those, correct? Because that needs to be
I think
done.
that's probably the best idea, and it would be an executive session considered personal matters. By
Okay.
definition, you can't.
So whenever I have the interview scheduled at the conclusion of the last one, we will have a meeting with a executive session to determine the finalists,
Correct.
and then they can be named.
And then publish it.
So those three names could be public. Then,
If you have three finalists.
and then that makes sense. Then in executive session, you're debating the personnel issue that would be private.
Yeah, until you make the decision that one of them should be a finalist, and that point you have to announce that.
Well,
And it's-
I'm struggling with it up here.
It's not easy.
If we have an executive session, what do you expect to do in that executive session? Discuss them?
No. He said it's really not a classic executive session. Because it is a personnel issue and we've got the top three. And it's like negotiating a contract because. You know, you vote on in an executive session, you discuss the merits of that contract. Because the other contractors aren't privy to them. In this case, it's personnel. And the everybody knows the three choices we've got before us, and that's all we're discussing in that executive session is we are actually.
You're using number 3 as an example.
Yeah, I picked 3 or 2. Let's say it's 2. More than likely. But
Whatever the number is,
Right,
It could be one.
it could
Could be one.
That's right.
it could be one. And then that's where you have to get the personnel discussions that are warrant to be discussed in an executive session to keep them private.
So to follow up on my thought was we go into executive session to discuss how many candidates we're gonna interview and who they are.
You've already
No,
interviewed.
you've already done that.
You've already interviewed. You're going into executive session to discuss how many finalists.
Sorry. I mean, finalists and then publish those names. That's what we gotta be prepared to do in a open
Or
meeting
announce, I
after.
mean,
Right.
publishes.
That's right.
Right, and I thought you were gonna get at the question, how can you make a decision in the executive session?
That would be the next step.
And I think maybe you come out of executive session, someone makes a motion. I move that we name candidates A and D as our finalists.
Right.
Or I move that we name candidate C as our finalists for this
So
position.
discuss the merits of those in an executive session. In an open session, entertain whatever motion is made.
Right, and then you have another discussion of the merits of the 1, 2, 3, 20 finalists that you have when you get to the August 1st meeting.
In public.
In public, that I would not be.
If we have one that we bring forward, then
You're still discussing the
Still
merits
do
of
it.
that one.
Yeah.
And voting on that one in the open meeting.
did you have a question, sir?
I was just gonna say that, I thought I heard you maybe saying another meeting after the interviews, but I was gonna suggest that maybe that executive session would take place on the 31st. Or already before, so you wouldn't have to call, especially after the interviews, is what I was thinking.
Good.
Do it early on the 31st.
Just
Anytime during that.
just making sure
And
that the item is over on the August 1st agenda.
so we've apparently agreed that we're going to select on August 1st. That's news
It
to
is
me.
on-
That's
It
what
is
we're
on the
doing.
agenda
Okay,
for that. You had 27th instead of the 31st.
And I'm sorry, that was my understanding as well, because that was me. Okay. Just wanted to be clear.
On the first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Executive session on the 31st, definitely more clarity.
That will work. Anything that we have neglected to do?
If in the following week and a half, there are issues that are raised. That we feel like we need to meet on the 31st, I think.
Can't hear you.
Sorry, I apologize. If there are issues that are raised or that come up in the next week and a half. Where you need me at the 31st meeting, I can be there on the 31st. If necessary, but. Not.
If
Not
not,
desired.
if
That's
not,
my first day back and usually there's a stack on my desk about
Yeah.
that call. Plans.
so if not, we'll see you on the 1st.
Exactly.
Okay,
in the wording on the executive session on the 31st, we'll say what?
Consideration of candidates. Or and
Personnel issue.
or personnel issue, yeah. Personnel issue.
Consideration of that statute.
Yeah, and I think as we discussed, we'll try to maybe have that more specific. Obviously, I mean, secret to anybody that has a, what it's about.
So personnel issue, consideration of candidates
For county manager,
for county manager
yes.
for. I believe that's statute. I think that's E. All right,
Candidates or not?
Be one and the same. wouldn't it?
Applicants.
Or finalists.
No, they're not finalists in that way.
The finalists is
applicants would be fine. Okay, anything else? All right, I will bring forward one thing we will have on an agenda, I forget which date I told you. Jill Anderson from Sol Vista Health has reached out because September is Suicide Prevention Month. And they were hoping for us to put forth either a proclamation or a resolution supporting that. So we will. I thought we were either going to put that on the first or the second. Do you guys have a
I don't
preference?
remember. None of that.
I don't know that everyone received that. I got this.
Yeah, we got it.
Who's it from?
Jill Anderson from Sol Vista.
And you read where the VA is going to do away with the wording of suicide prevention moving forward. I don't know what they're gonna call it, but
So she did send me, and I will send that out, an example. And I believe that's a resolution. I don't know if you would prefer a proclamation or a resolution.
I know
she
she
wanted just a
was
letter,
looking
but
for a letter, it looks like.
Yeah.
Suicide
I do
prevention
have something else to
sponsorship.
discuss with you, sir.
We had proclamation sample as requested, so we can do it as a proclamation.
Uh,
And I will forward that out and.
Or that, like,
Okay.
I do have.
Did you just get that one of she sent me, we from the packet that
I will. That's all I have there. You said you had something, sir.
Do. Responding to this topic right now.
I'm sending that to Bill, to Tom, to Kelly. Would you like to have a look at that before we do it? If you want me to. Might as well, since you're going on vacation, reading for the airplane or something like that.
well, they-
Sure.
We need to probably, and I'm working on trying to get a date, to get something on the agenda to enter in negotiations pertaining to the scope and fee with baseline engineering to move this sidewalk project forward with CDOT. We cannot proceed until we get a notice to proceed. But I suggested, let me pull this up so I know the two dates, to their rep. That I asked her if July 26th in the afternoon. Or July 31st in the morning would work for. That's crazy, why did I put morning? Oh, as an agenda item during our regular BOCC meeting.
You said July 26th or what?
Or the 31st as an agenda item. The 26th would be just a workshop. I don't, even if, and she said she would yet with the rest of her folks and make a determination. If they want to meet on the 31st, I wouldn't suggest that we have a formal negotiation for a fee, scope and fee, unless of course we do that in an executive session. I think what they wanted to do was have a general conversation. Now, if we're gonna get into the specifics, then we're gonna have to be a little more legalistic about that.
And can you find that out?
She said she would let me share her response. Got a lot of emails from Brady Wilson for some reason. She just said, let me check with the team. She did not say, I haven't heard back from her since, so.
Okay.
But we do need to get this project moving forward, because as soon as we get that notice received from CDOT.
Yeah, if it's generalities, then we can do that there, otherwise we need to have it on.
Or I can just say it has to be on an agenda item at one of them. Probably, because if it really comes to scope and fee, we will negotiate a price with them. So I would assume that would fall under an executive session on negotiation.
Yes.
Okay,
So maybe that's the route I push them to is, let's pick a date of an existing commissioner meeting and do it during the executive session.
yeah, even if that goes to the
Yeah,
first or second.
or middle bar, whatever.
Anything else, gentlemen? Okay, that being the case, I will adjourn this meeting at 3:50 PM. Oh,
Public comment.
my apologies. Any further public comment? I'm not seeing a hand raised.
Hey, Kevin, can you hear me?
Yes, who is this?
This is Brian Lockhart, landfill supervisor.
Oh, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, I need to get on, I don't know if you guys want to, we got to do a budget resolution to dig that final trench. So I don't know if you guys want to set that for an agenda item or just wait till my staff report and do it then in August, but we need to do it soon.
I think we ought to get on the agenda and do it.
31st is fine.
Yeah,
Good time.
You want to do it beyond the 31st?
That's fine. Yeah, that'll work.
And you have, what is it you're needing? Again,
I need
so
about $29,000 more to rent that scraper.
and you're permitted, and ready to go,
Correct.
and that's a budget, an amendment. With the
Amendment.
Hamilton Braden,
Correct. Yeah. I haven't talked to him about it yet, but I will. Yeah.
you just did, whether you know it or not, he's sitting here. I don't have a problem with that.
You, sir?
No.
Okay, it's the 31st. If you can get with Braden so that he can get that you guys can get that put together.
Okay, perfect. Will do.
Is that,
Think,
will you be able to tentatively schedule before then or no?
No.
Okay.
I'll talk to Sean and find out, when I'll be able to get it again, but I just want to make sure that we can do it because we have to do it. Yeah.
Well, would we be well advised to deal with that right now so that he can schedule that?
No, he said that can't make it any.
He can't schedule it until we decide.
No, so you can't schedule with the outfit either. But that's the way I understand. I talked to him about it. Say it again, so we're all clear.
So the landfill,
Thank you.
we don't have enough room to get us through the winter. The state
No,
does
no,
not get back to us.
The only question is, if we agreed to do it today, are you any further ahead or can you wait to the 31st? And what I got out of the conversation is, you said you can't do it any sooner than if we agreed on the 31st anyway, so it's okay on the 31st. Is that
The 31st is fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? That being the case, I will now adjourn this meeting at 3:53 p.m.